We are live. Oh, smile. Hi, everybody. We're live from Beverly Main Street's Arts Fest 2026, and I'm here with John Andrews with
Hi.
the Creative Collective. And
Hello.
oh, you people don't know me. Hi, my name's Liz DiFiore, and I'm the Community Engagement Manager with BevCam. And thank you so much for being here today to come sit down and chat with me.
Of course. Love Arts Fest.
I know it's hard to imagine that this is my third Arts Fest since kind of moving here, and it just gets better every year. And I know it's going a whole extra hour longer today, so I'm doing a lot of coffee, but otherwise.
I mean, eventually, Scope Creep will be the entirety of Cabot Street.
And I feel like the rest of June would be great.
Every weekend.
It's like Pride. It's Pride Month, Arts Fest. And I mean, those things go really well together anyway. So
Pride Month, Arts Fest, Juneteenth.
Yep, absolutely.
Every weekend is 98,000 events. It's delightful.
Speaking of,
yes.
You guys do a ton of events, and you guys also help to get the word spread about a ton of events. But before we get into all of that, I'd love for you to just kind of explain to people what the Creative Collective is, especially for those who maybe have never heard of it.
Sure. So Creative Collective, it's a work in progress, I would say.
That's a very artistic response.
And always has been. We had started out originally as we were going to be business support for artists. Mm-hmm. Didn't work, and that's okay. We still do support artists, but we're not exclusively. Mm-hmm. So I feel like for us, as we started to be a non-traditional business program, post-COVID, post-federal government, our current thought process is our special sauce is kind of the ecosystem. Mm-hmm. So where arts and culture, tourism, economic development, and community all kind of come together, that's where our happy place is, and making sure that those conversations between all those sectors are happening, but also translated in a way that people understand.
And what does that look like in practice?
Oh, it's everything. It's we do events, we do marketing, we do promotions, we do direct business support. A day like today with Arts Fest, we're very supportive of Beverly Main Streets and the job that they do. We also co-run Salem Arts Festival with Salem Main Street, so I understand what it takes to do this. Yeah. Today I was fortunate enough, and we came by earlier, I got to walk the Lieutenant Governor around and introduce her to some makers and artisans and great places like BevCam, and really just make a case for why. It's interesting, the biggest conversation we had was that right now, if you create free public things for people to do, they'll spend money. Mm-hmm. The cutbacks come when you ask someone to spend money up front.
Yeah.
And that's interesting because the more we can do to create things in public spaces, they're like Arts Festival, they're truly inclusive gatherings. We as Massachusetts, we're a pretty much liberal-leaning society, which is great. A lot of the events have a cause behind them. Mm-hmm. When an event has a cause behind it, it's not necessarily inclusive. Something like Arts Fest Beverly, you walk down the street, there's not a lot of political conversation. It's artisans, makers, and the community coming together. The energy is amazing. Yeah. So whatever we can do to support that, we have vendors that are in this festival who we do business support for and marketing for, and we also run our own markets, so we give them opportunities through that. But also the role that BevCam and Beverly Main Streets and the Cabot and all the anchor partners around that do to support these type of events, because at the end of the day, if the community's happy, if the businesses are thriving, and the makers get to make some money, seems like a win-win across the board.
Yeah, and I feel like oftentimes it's not really it's like, oh, but how many people really do? I know I'm hitting things.
Okay.
Very professional here.
That's okay.
I feel like a lot of people will question oh, but how much money do people actually make at a festival or something? Is it enough to live on? And the idea of the starving artist being that pervasive stereotype, but in our experience is that it's so much more the bigger picture of like all the different ways that people can make money being an artist, and that it's more than just one day. And especially days like today do tend to be very, very profitable for artists. So what is the average, especially the types of artists that are doing booths here today? What do their business models look like? Because I think a lot of people just don't really understand how artists make money as a profession.
So this is the complicated part about the creative sector. There is no one easy answer to that question, because you can walk down the street right now and you can find full-time artisans, you can find part-time artisans, you can find people that are working a full-time job and this is their happy place. There's nonprofit groups, there's the high school students. It's very different. There are some folks out here that I know this is what they do. They get it, they understand it, they know the circuit, they know what markets work, they know their business, they know their profit and loss and their costs. And, you know, a lot of those vendors you will never see in like a small mom and pop craft fair because the money just isn't there. Something like this, which is a legacy festival, it's very popular. This is a really tough market to get into, you know, highly curated, highly vetted, and just really, when you get to that scale, you kind of know what you're doing. I would say if I look down the row of people out in the street, only 20 or 30% of these people probably do this for a full-time living. I think 90% of them would like to. Yeah. But we as a people don't really understand and value our creators enough.
I think that's been my experience too, is that most people who consider themselves professional artists are not necessarily doing it full time.
Right.
And yeah, I think that totally tracks.
It would be really nice to figure out a way. I've definitely worked with some businesses that started out as part-time that are now full-time, which is delightful to know that it can work. There's a very good possibility that you can make money as an artist, but man, the grind is real. Yeah. You have to want it. You have to have something unique. You have to be willing to be flexible. You have to be willing to pivot. All the businesses that I know that are still able to do this full-time regardless of the climate out there, they have pivoted and flexed their models to figure out what people want and what they need while also staying true to what their originality is. It's a tough business, but you know, on the flip side of that, the frustrating part for me would be when people walk through the street right now, they're feeling good. They see pretty things. They see shiny things. They see things that bring them back to certain places or nostalgia or an energy or whatever. And other things that bring us that much peace and joy and understanding, whether it's, you know, wellness or therapy or any of that, we don't call them starving therapists. Right. We don't call them starving gym trainers. The mental model needs to shift, and we are going to constantly have this conversation. I don't know how long in the lexicon of the world starving artists has been a thing, but if you start really looking, even if you just go back as far as COVID, we aren't okay without our artists and our makers and our creators. And the fact that we still kind of view that as extra is unfortunate. It's almost like it's viewed as a luxury that is like, oh, we could live without this. But I think one of the things that really stood out to me. So I had the great pleasure of getting to join you for Creative Sector Day at the State House a few months ago, and one of the things that was mentioned there was that you know, art actually helps all of those other businesses that are much more highly valued manage to continue, right? It's the marketing, it's the messaging, it's the way that public safety is affected by vibrant downtowns, and you know, how kids are able to do better in school because they have more diversified programming and things like that. And I think oftentimes it's thought of as just a pretty picture. When it goes significantly deeper in terms of the value that makers bring to societies. It's interesting. It's almost like makers and creators do too much.
Yeah, they probably,
because
that's a bit of an occupational hazard, to be fair.
But because, I mean, if you think about all of the businesses that maybe don't sound creative or don't fit or aren't part of that, there is not a business I know that isn't touched by some sort of creative process, period.
I would agree.
I mean, restaurants, even if you don't look at the chef or the food service, the menu design. You know, the paintings on the walls, there's just every single thing has an element of creativity somewhere in it. And I think a combination of the fact that almost scares people. Yeah. And the fact that original thought is terrifying to some people. And some people really just don't like that someone can look at a blank piece of paper and make something that makes them feel something. And that's complicated. And so, what value do you put on that?
I don't even know if it's necessarily that they don't like it, but that it can make them uncomfortable, which doesn't have to translate into don't like, right? But I feel like we see that a lot here at BevCam when we're doing, especially like our Podcast 101 like types of workshops, where people who've never felt like they would identify as a creative person ever come in, and for the first time they make something, they make art, even if they don't realize that that's what it is, right? Is like, you know, to create a show, to talk about your business, to talk about your life experience that involves a significant amount of the creative process, and then to like learn things about video editing or audio or anything like that. And often we hear people say, oh, I'm not a creative person, so I could never do that. And then once they get into it just even a little bit, they realize that it's actually something that comes very naturally to them. I think being creative actually comes very naturally to most people in different ways. But I don't necessarily think that we're often taught to value that or to think of it as being creative.
Well, I don't think we're ever taught that, and I mean, truthfully, we have a federal administration right now that is pushing against creativity in all of its forms. Because, again, original thought is scary to some people. And that's just where we're at, you know. If you look back over time at any of the major, you know, if you look back at the Spanish flu pandemic and what came out of that, it was theater and culture and cinema. Honestly, if you look at COVID, streaming.
Oh, yeah.
All the stuff, you know, how to do performances and entertainment on Zoom. Like so much will come out of crisis, but it's always the creative people that come up with the solutions. And like, as someone that owns a small business, you know what I love? You want to be a creative bookkeeper? Be my guest. You want to creatively think about how to do this so it's not the traditional standard process? I embrace all of that. Yeah. But traditional folks and creative thinking, you know, we still are dealing with a little bit of trauma from COVID. We're still dealing with a little bit of, well, I could lose everything. Yeah. And so that hold on tight and that not wanting to really think about things differently, generational wealth, generational sustainability, like all of that stuff is really part of the equation. You can also look at it as basic as if we want communities we want to live in, then arts and culture has to be part of the equation. Yeah. You know, I don't know a lot of people, even the people that are very much like, get off my lawn. They still love when there's a free concert in the public park. They still love when farmers market happens. Or so in all of these things, the ecosystem is so fragile right now, but it's also so critically important. And I feel like we are in a bit of a bubble here in New England, and I will take that bubble and I will protect that bubble till I can't protect it anymore, because it is not like this in the rest of the country. And, you know, I look at 2.5 weeks in a row of arts festivals that are bringing in 10 to 15,000 people and supporting. We can look at this as a craft fair, or we can look at this as 120 businesses on that street thriving. These people pay taxes, they go out to eat, they support their kids' schools. So why we treat them as a less than? I think there's two parts of that equation. I think number one, people are scared of things they don't understand. as we well know. And number two, I think we as a sector have to stop othering ourselves.
And I think one of the ways that I've seen the Creative Collective address some of that is giving people a space to both commiserate and also like support each other. Can we talk a little bit about Coffee with the Collective and like that event series?
Yeah.
So give us the quick pitch about like what Coffee with the Collective is.
So, you know, when we started, we were very much in the line of like, this is a traditional business program, and in traditional business programs, people network.
Yeah.
So how do we network, you know? Then I realized that creative people and a lot of people in our program are on some sort of neurodivergent spectrum. They don't network, or they didn't know how to network, or they didn't feel safe in spaces to be able to network. And, you know, traditional chambers, nothing against them, but standing around in a circle in a conference room or in an office doesn't feel comfortable to people. Having to present who you are and what you do in front of a group of people doesn't necessarily work. That doesn't mean you don't have the best business in the world, but some people just don't do that. So we found out really quick that if you create a safe space and you really are intentional in where you open your space up, that people very much will show up. And we found pretty quickly that the creative world will network if you give them the right spaces to network in, and you give them a little bit of a boost on who you should talk to, how you should talk to them. Is there someone that I think that you should really meet? And can I make a friendly enough of an introduction that it doesn't feel awkward networking? And because everyone that works for me and everyone on my team, we're all very much real people. Yeah. It doesn't feel stuffy. It never feels
Can confirm
forced.
None of them are robots.
Right. So it's grown exponentially. It's actually becoming complicated to find spaces to do the coffees.
You guys fill rooms, that's for sure.
We do.
Every event that I have been to has just been an incredible energy in the room. And there's always a little something in each corner as well. I know you guys usually have like some sort of poster board where people can put up Post-it notes of like stuff that they've got coming up. I know you have like somebody helping with like a connect the dots kind of idea.
Yeah.
And then there's, you know, and then of course there's always like the more informal, like the announcements and such.
Yeah, we play it by city, we play it by opportunity. You know, we try not to put too much programming in the way. Yeah. Because realistically, to get all those people in a room, and I mean, creative people bring creative energy. It's delightful.
Oh, they do. It's chaotic and wonderful.
The amount of connections and opportunities and new collaborations that have come out of our networking events is exactly what I've always wanted. We're also really intentional, which a lot of folks don't realize, in who else we invite. So I'm constantly inviting the head of planning, the state rep, the city councilors, the folks that actually probably just don't really understand who these people are, that they are their constituents, that they are real people, that they have businesses, that they are part of the community. And that has been really interesting for me. And we've been trying to lean in a little bit more in partnership with the Salem Chamber and Beverly Chamber. How do we get both groups in the same room? Yeah. Because the reality is my group's great. We don't got a lot of money. I can bring in some corporate folks. We can make sure that people understand why they're both in the room together. Yeah. And how they can benefit each other. And then maybe someone can actually get paid.
Understanding that value proposition, knowing how to make that pitch is really important. And I feel that it's something that a lot of creatives struggle with understanding how to do, especially because, I mean, let's be fair, nobody ever teaches business to creatives in school. Well, I mean, it's becoming more a part of curriculum now, but certainly when I was an art student, it wasn't.
And to your point, like the progression, and again, I can't be hypocritical. Flexibility is needed. We may change how we do things at the drop of a hat if the industry and the people are demanding that. So we started out with just some poster boards. Yeah. And we would let people put things on the poster boards. And then we have an employee / member / friend, Mickey Wilson. She runs Dot Connector Consulting. Yeah. And we had talked about, can we do this more intentionally? So what we're trying to do now is really like explain to people networking doesn't have to suck. And if you go in with an intention of what you need, like a lot of people show up to networking with no idea what they need, what they have, so they leave and they're like, well, I mean, it was a decent social event.
Yeah.
So we've been trying really hard to make sure that we have figured out a way to make the connections and connect those dots a little bit more intentionally. The benefits of that are the folks that are in the room that don't engage as much, we make sure to take everything from the people that do engage and put it in front of everyone.
Yeah.
So that way, if someone has a venue space or an opportunity, but you're still a little bit shy and you didn't get to the whole room, we now have the ability to be like, but here in this beautifully stuffed email of offers and opportunities, and if you have something that you want people to know about you, but you didn't feel comfortable in that room, so you can be comfortable or you can just be there.
Yeah.
Either way, my hope is you walk away with some sort of way to help your business sustain or grow.
Yeah. And your emails do have a lot of really useful information. I know they're often listing grants that are coming up, other events that are looking for vendors, which I always found super valuable, and member features, which are always really fun.
Yep. Calls for art, grant opportunities. We do. Yes, we're based in Salem, but we're regional, and we do a lot of regional work. Like I said earlier, having the lieutenant governor around.
Yeah.
I do have monthly meetings with the state reps and the senators to figure out what's going on with that. And the truth is, these small business owners don't have time for that stuff.
Yes.
So we try to be in the spaces and create the tables that people either can be at or they can be at least informed about.
That's a lot of stuff.
It is a lot of stuff.
Can you talk to me a little bit about the team that you work with to make all of this happen?
Sure. We're growing a bit.
That's exciting.
It is. We're fortunate to have a lot of people that really believe in what we do, which is great. So there's me, Alyssa on my team. She manages our memberships. She's also got a deep background in history. And so a lot of our historic members, Historic Beverly, Essex National Heritage, really engage with Alyssa a lot. So it's nice to have someone that gets that world.
Yeah.
We just brought on a new marketing manager, recent graduate of Endicott, formerly Endicott intern.
Wonderful.
Ainsley, she's delightful. She's actually was here with me earlier today, and she is off to the Lynn Music Festival.
I think she maybe stopped by our booth earlier.
She may have.
Yeah.
And then Mickey, who does our dot connecting with us. We also have an employee, Young, that no one has ever met and will never meet because they don't ever come in. They come into team meeting every couple months.
The ghosts of the team.
And they do a lot of our back end stuff.
Yeah.
So we do promote events.
Yeah.
A lot of these people don't have time to list their events. They especially don't have time to list their events in multiple places.
Yeah.
So Young,
that's something we struggle with too.
Scrapes websites. We'll pull in RSS feeds. We're constantly trying to figure out how to make sure that you all can do the work that you do, and you don't have to do extra because you're already paying us.
Yeah.
So what can we do to make that a little bit easier, and then weave those things in?
Yeah.
Who should know about it? Who should find out about it? Because, I mean, our members, there's hundreds and hundreds of events a week, and it's all over the place as far as what everyone does. Tia on my team, she's kind of our Lynn representative. Born, bred in Lynn, loves everything about it. Started a couple nonprofits in Lynn.
Oh, wow.
Also hardcore into making sure that people aren't food insecure. So she's actually on the Food Insecurity Task Force in Lynn. She started mutual aid during COVID.
Yeah.
So when someone needs nonprofit advice, when someone's more in that social services category, we have someone on the team that can have that conversation. Is that everyone? Oh, and then we just brought in 1 day a week just to start. I'm getting older and I'm thinking about legacy.
Okay.
So we brought in a development person 1 day a week.
Oh, wonderful.
Just to kind of walk me through what succession might look like. I would like to have Creative Collective not go anywhere.
Yeah.
But right now it's definitely structured in a way that if I'm not here, it's not going to last.
That's something that I think all businesses, regardless of whether or not they consider themselves to be creative businesses,
Yes, 100%.
have a really hard time doing. So that's actually quite impressive that you're thinking about it, making plans already.
Yeah, I know what we've done. I know who we've helped, and I know how we've helped the economy and the growth, and a lot of creative people stay in business.
Yeah.
And I would really, really hate for it to go away. I think that's the reason that I'm pushing. I don't think I'm that well thought out and planned ahead of time, but I think I can see the writing on the wall. And if anything changes federally in a good direction, I'd love to be ready to be like, hey, is there an opportunity for me to start a pocket of this in other regions?
Yeah.
I've had a lot of conversations. We do work with mass development, so I've worked in a lot of the gateway cities throughout the state. And, we have contacts out in Pittsfield and Holyoke and North Adams and Springfield and Worcester and Lawrence.
Yeah.
And so if there was a way to kind of build up the more than just local regional ecosystem with this kind of method that we've put in place, could we actually build a pipeline for even more opportunities for people to say, okay, yeah, there's, 35 market opportunities here. But if you also don't mind driving to Merrimack Valley, there's another 100 opportunities. And like stuff like that, everyone's looking for customers.
Yeah.
And the truth is no local economy can support itself.
Oh, that's an interesting concept.
We need tourists, we need visitors, and I'm not even saying from other countries, I'm saying people from Salem that go to Beverly.
Right.
We
did take care of the troll that lives under that bridge, and he's cool now. So anybody from Salem, you're allowed to come over now.
Salem's been convinced.
There's no toll.
But I was just talking to Montserrat about this and Fringe Festival.
Yeah.
Somewhat successful. But why couldn't we potentially do a Salem Beverly Fringe Festival? Because I can tell you right now, we got a lot of that stuff in Salem, and we also have a huge audience. So why not do the crisscross?
Yeah.
Years ago, we did what was called Crossing Waters, which was one of my favorite events of all time. So that was a partnership.
That might have been before my time, but yeah.
That was a partnership basically funded by ECCF, Essex County Community Foundation. Montserrat got a big grant, and we created a both sides of the bridge situation where Beverly had a set of programming by the waterfront and we had a set of programming by the waterfront, but they interacted with each other. So the coolest, I've done a lot of events. I would say one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my entire life was Beverly High School was on the pier on their side. Salem High School was on the pier on our side, and they did call and response across the harbor.
Okay, hear me out.
Stuff like that.
So we do this, and we get the BevCam drone, which is named Drone Lovely after our senator,
I was
Joan
just
Lovely.
with Joan yesterday.
And we do like a back and forth. Oh, that would be so cool. That would be so cool.
So it was great, and like, each side had its own kind of feel and vibe, but it was like silly, like awesome stuff. Like on the Beverly side, someone had set up a big projector and a screen on the side of a box truck, and people were playing Mario Kart racing with each other on the water. And Andy Bablow, who's a very well-known Beverly artist, he did this whole install in a storage container. It was all neon glow-in-the-dark experiential walkthrough thing. And then we did like spoken word stuff over on the other side. And then a friend of ours had these like big light sticks. So there was actually a procession across the bridge.
That is so cool.
And back in the day, and it's something that we kind of wanted to bring back for 400, but we didn't. They used to close the bridge and have Beverly and Salem high school football teams meet on the bridge and do a whole thing. So the way the economy is right now, the partnerships between the cities is really important. And, because we do multi-city work, I would say we're more in line with like what a North Shore Chamber does than any local chamber, because the interoperability of the cities, to me, really matters.
Yeah.
And I think from an economy perspective, when we all work together, and I mean, if you look at COVID, like the North Shore bandied together, and we made it through pretty okay.
And so it's about being able to make those connections on a bunch of different levels, right? We're talking about making those personal connections, like at the Coffee with the Collective events. We're talking about making those connections between like customer and business, like at Arts Fest, and then the larger community connections, like in joint events, or even just being able to participate in larger scale advocacy initiatives.
How do we, and I feel like you're in this category, we love micro.
Yeah.
We're all about this.
Yeah. We call it hyper-local.
How do we also keep in mind the macro conversation when the macro conversation is actually what's impacting us long term?
Yeah.
Budgets, ordinances, rules, finances, when the state puts out its budget and like gives mass cultural another 1%.
Yeah.
But 1% isn't going to do anything for the state. We need more. We need different facilities. I would love to figure out an actual way to put support into the for-profit creative community, because we are very supportive as a state of the nonprofit creative community.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, because if you look at like this situation here, there's 100+ vendors. Beverly Main Streets would qualify for some funding. The city of Beverly would, but the individual makers,
most of them don't.
No health insurance, no easy way to get access to.
I know a bunch of artists who've been doing pop-up collab spaces and co-op spaces, and but there's not a whole lot of support for business models like that. And I remember one time you told me that Creative Collective was for the non-traditional business model, and I really loved the way that kind of encapsulates all of those.
It also doesn't mean just artists.
Yeah, right.
And that's something that we've been language and messaging wise, we've been trying to get through to people, because people look at us as quirky. I'm covered in tattoos and I always wear shorts and a hat, and Tia on my team will probably have purple hair next time I see her, and this is who we are. So to be treated, I will go toe to toe with anyone as far as social capital goes, but that's not real capital.
Right.
So you can control a little bit of money and have a lot more say and power than I do.
I think I like the idea of, we could do creative bookkeeping, right? Like what you said before, but creative legislation, right? Looking creatively at budgets and how they work, and how you can support industries that then support other industries, right? It's about creating the foundations, laying down the foundations, and investing in that.
We're doing all this work, and I mean, it's good work, but we're doing all this work in housing, or food insecurity. And at the same time, if we build a bunch of housing, we bring a bunch of people in, and there's nothing for them to do, and there's no free public programming, and they've already just squeaked out enough to get into the space, then what?
Yeah.
And then where does that energy go? And then we start talking about the youth. When the youth have nothing to do, where does the energy go?
Right.
It's usually to get in trouble.
Yeah, unless there's dance classes that they could take,
Anything.
Or any sort of thing happening downtown. I know Beverly just opened up the brand new McPherson Youth Center, which has been pretty fantastic. But not every community, not every neighborhood is able to have something like that. And just that one thing is limited in its reach as well, right? It's about diversity of choice. What is something I think we're gonna our conversation is kind of wrapping up, and I want to leave with some action items. For the people who are shopping today, for the people who are watching at home or later, for the people who don't think of themselves as creatives, do you have anything you can that you would suggest in terms of how to take actions to support the creative industry, how to take actions to support the people that they know who are creative professionals?
I mean, obviously, spend some money.
Yeah.
I also know money's tough right now.
Yeah.
And I think developing an understanding that, number one, this is hard work. Setting up after you've spent hours and hours and hours of making this stuff, and then dealing with 25, 30 mile an hour gusts of winds, which we watched earlier today, and then watching...
Tent weights are good.
And then watching, you know, $1,000 worth of your product smash on the ground.
Yeah.
That would crush most people, and a vendor picks it up and continues out with the rest of their 8-hour day.
Right.
Like that's who does that, you know? So know that these are humans, know that these are real people. Give them a high five if you can't buy something. Tell them that their work is great. Give them a good review. Follow them on Instagram. Like whatever you can do to support them with whatever means you have. Great. And also treat them like human beings. These are not people in service of you. These are people that are making things that make you feel a certain way. That's a different element. And I would just love for more people to walk down the street and go, yes, I just got the best T-shirt, or I just got the best this, but I got it from a human being that lives 3 doors down from me. Yeah. I got it from, you know, the person that their daughter's on my son's swim team. Yeah. Like these are all real people doing real things that are taking their Saturday while you shop and killing themselves, setting up a 10 by 10 space with all of their product that they probably worked for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks on, and poured everything they had into it. And like, that's not scary, that should be celebrated. And that's that mental shift. I would ask anyone to really consider who the humans are behind the things that we love. Yeah. That would be, and that's like kind of hippy dippy, but that's the only way we're going to change the narrative, is when you start talking about these people. You walk into
making it personal.
You walk into a restaurant, you walk into a lawyer's office. There's a level of, okay, I'm in a professional space. These people are making professional spaces out of literally thin air, in challenging environments and challenging situations, and still smiling and still showing up. And what can we do to make them feel like they're part of our economy and they're part of our communities? They're not the extra fun thing just because they feel like they're arts and culture.
Yeah, yeah.
Mental shifts.
So real quick, I need you to tell us about your hat and where you got it from. Because it's so cool.
So there's so this is actually an interesting story, and I'll tell it quick. So years ago, at the Peabody Essex Museum, they had a native fashion exhibit. Yeah. And it was one of my favorite exhibits ever. And they had modern fashion, old fashion. In the store, they always have stuff that reflects the exhibit. And there's this company called Native Northwest, and they feature nothing but indigenous artists. And I have had probably 15 hats from this company at this point. Oh, man. And when you go on the website, they show you the artists, they show you what tribe they're in, the artists get money back. Like, it's all a really good system. Cool. And this is one of my newer ones. I'm a hat guy. That's kind of how I tell my personality. I wear pretty much the same thing every day, so this isn't very telling. I don't wear a lot of statement T-shirts, so you can tell a lot by where I'm at with my hat. This is one of my Arts Festival hats. So I have hats for when I go to other things and do other things, but this is my Arts Festival hat. So, and obviously, as we know, supporting indigenous artists is great, and to know that the money goes right back into the artistic community so people can do more, like that's the win. And again, that hits micro and macro, and we need to do more of that.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining me today at Arts Fest. Guys, definitely check out the Creative Collective on Instagram. If you are an artist yourself, please check out their website and everything that they can do for you as a creative business.
CreativeCollectiveMA.com.
CreativeCollectiveMA.com. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate being here. Today's delightful. I'm probably going to go buy stuff now. And then I'm actually heading over to Lynn for a Juneteenth celebration.
Oh, fantastic.
So,
fantastic.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.